51, the appeal court today, where the court has set aside all the orders restraining the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Accountant General of the Federation from releasing funds to the Rivers State government. It does look like a win for Governor Sim Fubara. This has been largely a political legal tussle. But then, what does this mean, legally speaking? Let's hear from Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, who is live for us from Accra in Ghana. Mr. Falana, give us an understanding, legally speaking, what does this position of the federal of the appeal court mean?
Legally speaking, in the last 3 weeks or thereabout, the Court of Appeal, sitting in Abuja, has upheld the local government election conducted by the Rivers State government on October 5 this year. It has also today upheld the position of the Rivers State government under Governor Fubara that the statutory allocations payable to Rivers State government cannot be the affairs of the Federal High Court. In other words, the decision of the Honorable Justice Abdul Malik directing the Accountant General of the Federation and the Central Bank of Nigeria to withhold the statutory allocations of Rivers State government has been quashed, vacated, and set aside by the Court of Appeal today, because those directives, those orders, have been found to be legal and unconstitutional, because the statutory allocations of Rivers State or matters relating to the revenue of that state are internal affairs of the state. Only the state high court can hear and determine any dispute arising from them. In other words, the decision on the local government election, the decision of the Court of Appeal, which validated the local government election conducted by the Rivers State Electoral Commission, and the judgment of the Court of Appeal delivered today, which has set aside the decision that the funds, the statutory allocations of Rivers State persist, be confiscated. These two decisions are in line with the tenets of federalism outlined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Court of Appeal is saying the fact that you join federal agencies or federal officers to a case that has to do with the revenue or local government elections or internal affairs of the state government cannot confer jurisdiction on the Federal High Court. I am convinced that both decisions delivered by the Court of Appeal will go a long way to reinforce the principles, basic tenets of federalism in the country.
All right, thank you so much for watching. Now, wait for the rest part of the video. The rest part of the video you're about to watch is more interesting. It explains how appeal court, spoil Wike's birthday. Remember, yesterday was Wike's birthday. A case was taken to the court. Like you all know, Wike, he had the court in his pocket, right? Now, there was an arrangement, you understand, that was to be delivered that judgment was to be delivered yesterday. In the act of Wike was excited, like the case of Hema and Hema in the Bible. Is it Hema and the Mordecai in the Bible, right? So he was thinking it was going to be celebrated. Guys, let's put that aside. Ugo Shinyere has explained how Wike's birthday appeal court scattered. You've got to watch this. You understand? Now, please, as you watch this video, let me give it a thumbs up so that Facebook and YouTube can recommend it. I best share it. You know what I'm excited about this video about the watch? Anything that pays Wike, that they give me joy. So Lord, the thing just pay Wike. Even if I know it for 7 days, I'm satisfied. You understand? All right, let's watch it together now.
The appeal court judgment today questioned the Federal High Court order that wanted to seize the River State statutory allocation is victory for democracy and principles of federalism and constitutional governance, and an end, and a serious end to the desperate quest by one man to discredit the institution of our judiciary in his quest to seize the public resources of a state. And the opposition lawmakers, commenced their appeal court for redeeming the image of the judiciary and saving it from the desperation of one man who wants to seize the sovereign wealth of the people. Jurisdiction was not there in the first place, so there was even no subject matter to be considered. How can you imagine seizing a statutory revenue of a federating unit using the court like an invitation to constitutional and judicial anarchy? Jurisdiction was not there in the first place, like appeal court have upheld. Jurisdiction is integral, and they know. Supreme Court has held as far back as, in many cases, especially in the case of CBN versus Rahmania Global Resources, that the mere attachment of a federal institution does not confer jurisdiction. You have to look at the subject matter. So because the pro-Wike group was desperate to throw rivers into anarchy and wanted to cripple the economy of the state, and then they find federal high court available for that, then they went and attached CBN and federal government, so therefore federal high court has jurisdiction. This was purely an internal affairs of a state, because we're talking about Appropriation Act. That is law made by the State Assembly. There was nothing that involves CBN interpretation or federal government involvement in it. There's a difference between federal allocation that is moved from the consolidation revenue fund to that of the state. It's a symbol of federating unit. Then when the money gets to the state, when the fund is disbursed from the federation to the federating unit, which is the state, then you talk about appropriation to make budget. And that falls under the powers of the State Assembly. And the State High Court has jurisdiction. But they went to Federal High Court to obtain a judgment. Okay, the cruise of the matter is problem between them and the governor. Is it problem between them and the state? So if a governor is defaulting, and I want Nigerians to pay attention to this, the Constitution has made a elaborate provision to take care of that. There is a State House of Assembly that can impeach. Now, what is the business of the Federal High Court in trying to seize to stop the disbursement of funds from the Federation account to the federating unit? Because the federating unit does not have a budget, which is an internal affairs in the state, which is supposed to be the State High Court. People just want us to change our constitutional laws and democracy because of one man quest to seize what does not belong to him. Who are you to take us through this kind of journey? Who are you? Is this how America, Texas and New York and Ghana is developing? If the reason why they are doing this is that the State House of Assembly have a legitimate issue because of the illegal cross-carpeting from PDP to APC. They know that. And that have been paid and they can't function because their seats have been declared vacant. Instead of subjecting themselves to a by-election. So that if you have a properly constituted House of Assembly that has all the members, then you talk about impeachment. As it stands today, going by the judgment of the Supreme Court, the foreman that House of Assembly is recognized by law. Because until, like the Supreme Court have said in the case of Dapialong and Dere, until by-election is held to fill those vacant seats, the remaining members can preside. And because they know they don't have that majority, they don't have that members of House of Assembly, then they resorted to using the Federal High Court to do what the House of Assembly ought to have done. The decision of the Appeal Court to nullify the judgment of the Federal High Court, the order for the seizure of our allocation of River State government, is a welcome development and a triumph of rule of law, victory for principle of true federalism and constitutional governance, and should be, applauded by all Nigerians that these eminent jurists have interpreted an already established judicial principle by the Supreme Court and every arm of government, have also asserted the sacred principle of our constitutional governance and democracy, that there is a difference between fund disbursement from the federation account and appropriation act, which is an internal affairs of a state, which falls under the powers and jurisdiction of the state high court, which the federal high court have no business, because it was about whether there was an appropriation law that was made and whether the governor was spending money from the River State Consolidation Revenue Fund in accordance with the law. And default or inability to comply with that law, the right thing would have been for the State Assembly to impeach. But because they have lost their seat as members of the State House of Assembly by illegally cross-carpeting to APC, and after realizing the stupidity of their action, they are running back to say, oh, we didn't leave again. Because they know they cannot serve an impeachment notice, because they know they have no locus, in this matter. Then they resorted to Federal High Court to use the Federal High Court to legislate, to attack and undermine and pursue their malice against Fubara, to the extent of obtaining an order that the entire statutory revenue of a state, of a people, should be seized. Then Wike will be very happy in FCT that Rivers people are suffering, Rivers people are crying, Rivers people are dying on the street, Rivers is not secure because the resources that is meant to administer the state have been seized. You can understand when people are political sadists, when what they think, what they see, they see pain, they see anarchy. That is the only way people can be thinking this kind of thing. So this is a huge setback for the pro-Wike group, who wants to use our court to be pursuing their petty malice against a man who did not do them any wrong. So it's victory for democracy, and it has helped to reassert the principles of our constitutional democracy, that you cannot do this. This was malice taken too far. So, and like I said before, Supreme Court have established these things. You don't just go and attach a federal agency name inside your suit and therefore jurisdiction is conferred. That has been established that is wrong. That mere addition of a name of a federal agency does not confer that jurisdiction on the Federal High Court to have a general jurisdiction. That has been established in the case of CBN versus Rahmania Global Resources, delivered by the Supreme Court. So, and like I said before, this whole thing is because for no reason you moved your loyalists, the Wike group, your lawmakers to APC. Automatically, by the provision of the Constitution, their seat becomes vacant. It's automatic, having cross-carpeted. And now, realizing you have made a mistake, you run back and say, oh, I didn't leave. Even when you swore to an affidavit that is before the court. You transmitted your decampment live on TV. When they were singing on your mandate, we shall stand. Did they know what they were doing? Or you think that if you join Mr. President party, then the president will encourage you to be doing illegality? A president that believes in intra-party democracy and intra-party strength? Who fought in line with ensuring that lawmakers do not decamp when he was in AC and ACN. So this judgment is welcomed, and we urge the judiciary to continue to remain firm and steadfast. All these matters concocted to undermine the principle of democracy and constitutional governance by one man should all be dismissed and thrown into the dustbin. So that the whole world will know that that thing that are boasting that, oh, whatever they file in court, they will get that. No, it's not. Our judiciary is not for sale. This is the time to assert that authority and end this madness. So people of Rivers State can be able to face their business without any interruption. The noise is too much. It's affecting the integrity of our court. It's affecting the integrity of our political process. Look at what they're doing to different political parties of genuine injunction, left, right, and center. How many times have any of us, even judges, politicians, say religiously that you travel to London or you travel to America and you're reading the paper and you hear the former governor of Texas with double barrel chasing the incumbent governor? They don't do such things here. And people come back here and continue to do this like this place is an animal kingdom. This has to stop.